everyone, it's Cheryl, and I am at the North Baltimore Public Library. Unfortunately, I'm the only one at the library today. We had some other coworkers in earlier, but I'm the last one here because the library is not yet open. We have our fingers crossed that sometime not too far from now, the library will open up again and we'll have lots of visitors, people to check out books and come in and talk to us and use all of our programs. But until then, we're making do by talking to everyone through Facebook, through our website. And I'm going to send this video that I'm making right now to Renee to share with all of you if you'd like, because I just thought I miss you guys and I miss talking about our books. I hope that those of you who were there back in March, this was our March book, this was our book for April, had a chance to get a copy of The Celebration, which was the Amish Cooking Class Series, Book 3. We read Book 1 and Book 2 a while ago, and this was the final one in the series. So I thought I did not have a chance to read it. It was by Wanda Brunstetter. I would read the prologue and talk to you about some of the other things that were kind of fun in the book. Walnut Creek, Ohio. Heidi Troyer sat on the back porch watching Marcia and Randy play in the yard. It was hard to believe the children had been living with her and Lyle for the past 4 months. The time had gone so quickly since their arrival a few days before Christmas. While not completely adjusted to her surroundings, Marcia had finally begun to speak, but usually only when spoken to. Randy was still moody at times and occasionally didn't like to cooperate. Heidi continued to look for ways to get through to the children and make them feel loved and a part of their family. Of course, they aren't really our children, Heidi thought with regret. They were placed in our foster care and are still grieving the deaths of their parents. Breathing deeply, Heidi enjoyed the warmth of an April breeze. Spring was a rejuvenating time of year, especially with the sound of the children's laughter. She chuckled as she watched Randy and Marcia blow cottony seeds from a dandelion. Heidi remembered how she and her siblings had done the same thing when they were children. She leaned her head against the back of the wicker chair and closed her eyes. Lord, please give me the grace to accept things if it becomes necessary for Marcia and Randy to leave our home, and give Lyle and me the wisdom to know how to help these precious children adjust to life without their parents. Are you all right? Lyle asked as he touched her shoulder. Her eyes snapped open. Yeah, I was praying, asking God for wisdom to know how to help the children adjust to their new life. He took a seat in the chair beside her. It's only been a few months, and the Kinner are doing better than when they first came here. You're right, but only with us. When other people are around, Marcia doesn't say a word, and Randy sometimes responds negatively. Heidi released a lingering sigh. After church last Sunday, they both stayed close to me and didn't interact with the other children. I would think by now that they'd be more comfortable around other Kinner. Lyle pulled his finger through the ends of his thick beard. Say, I have an idea. You might think it's a crazy notion, but it would be something to think about at least. Her interest piqued. Heidi placed her hand on his arm. What is it, Lyle? I'm open to any suggestions that would help Randy's attitude or bring Marcia out of her shell. I was thinking you could teach another cooking class. Heidi's brow furrowed. How would that help? Lyle glanced toward Randy and Marcia, who were kneeling on the grass petting one of the barn cats. What if this time you held the class for children instead of adults? Randy and Marcia would be included, of course. It would give them a chance to interact with other children and at the same time do something fun. Heidi cupped her chin in the palm of her hands. That might be something to ponder. Of course, Marcia's too young to learn how to cook, but she could watch and maybe take part by stirring things. cracking eggs, or doing some simpler tasks that might be involved in the recipes I choose. She reached over and clasped his hand. Thank you, Lyle. It's an interesting idea. I'll give it some thought. And that's how the story begins. At the very back of the book, as usual, are some recipes. We have fresh fruit salad, always delicious. Some mini corn dogs, who doesn't love that? Strawberry shortcake, perfect for this time of year. Egg salad sandwiches, always good. Meatballs. And surprise muffins. Let's see, what's the surprise? Ooh, strawberry or blueberry jam. That sounds good. And this book, copy of the book actually, has some discussion questions too. So, some things you can think about. Number 1, as in the case of the Troyers helping the Kimballs, would you be able to open your home to a family in need without hesitation? That's a tricky thing, something we'd all have to think about if we were going to actually foster some children like that. And let's see. Oh, do you agree with Velma that it's best to let our children learn life's lessons from their own mistakes? That's a tough lesson sometimes. And did Ellen wait too long to tell Becky she was adopted? When is the right time to tell a child about their adoption? That's something a lot of adoptive parents think about. And last, I like this one. If you had an opportunity to take a cooking class hosted by an Amish woman, what questions would you ask her? Would you keep it to how things are made, or would you actually talk to them about their life and how it's different from ours? So that is the last book in the series by Wanda E. Brunstetter, The Amish Cooking Class, and it was the celebration. Now, if things had worked out right, that was our April read. Our May read this month was to have been Before We Were Yours. This book I actually did read with my other book club last fall, and found it a very interesting one. It's written by Lisa Wingate, and I have a brief synopsis of what this book is about. Lisa Wingate was inspired to write Before We Were Yours when she saw a documentary about an infamous adoption scandal. The documentary was about Georgia Tann and the Memphis branch of the Tennessee Children's Home Society. Although Wingate's book is a work of fiction, the experiences of the characters reflect the real-life accounts of many of the people whose lives were devastated by the society. During the time it operated, from the 1920s until 1950, approximately 5,000 children passed through the society's system. Some of these children were orphans or unwanted by their birth parents and were subsequently placed with loving families. Many of them, however, were neither unwanted nor genuine orphans. Georgia Tann acquired her foundlings in a number of fraudulent ways. These included kidnapping unattended children from public places and tricking parents into signing away their parental rights. Other children were put out for adoption after their parents temporarily boarded them with the society. Taking advantage of the desperate economic circumstances caused by the Depression, Tann targeted the vulnerable, including single mothers and those who were out of work. She then sold the children on to wealthy couples all over the country. So, a very sad part of our history, the Tennessee Children's Home Society. And there have been many documented cases about children who were put into this system during this time, and then later they went on to try to find their families after they had grown up. what Lisa Wingate did was to take the basis of the reality and create a fictional family, and tell the story of how these children were adopted, or actually put into the society and then adopted, and how they survived in their story. Very, very sad at times, but hopeful, I think, in the end. So this was actually Findlay Hancock County's Community Reads, and the author was to have visited Findlay in March, but of course, when all of the shutdowns and all of the stay-at-home orders came into place, it was rescheduled, and I think she's supposed to come sometime in the fall now. But we were fascinated by this story. Certainly heartbreaking, but again, hopeful. And this has been on the bestseller list for quite a long time. And the author has a new book now that's on the bestseller list. So something definitely keep an eye on. I hope, fingers crossed, that we will soon be able to get books from other libraries again. And when I do, then I will try to get books to Renee so that we can have enough large print and enough books on CDs that everyone can read it. For now, I do not have enough copies for everyone. So I talked to Renee a week or so ago, and she's going to try to return all the copies of the celebration to me. And I told her at the time I didn't have enough of these copies of Before We Were Yours. So as soon as I do, I will try to put them on hold, but it may not be till June or even July before I'll be able to get enough copies for everyone. So in the meantime, we're just going to have to kind of put book club on hold. If you are interested, I talked to Renee about trying to do some kind of a virtual meeting maybe, or maybe you'd just like to do a phone-in conversation that you could talk to myself, and I'd be happy to include Barb. And if there's anyone else, I know Carol doesn't live at West Haven, so maybe she would be interested in joining too, or anyone else. And we'll see if we can do that. And if not, then we can wait till early summer, or when we do start doing programs again. It's been a very strange year so far, hasn't it? But we're all in this together, and we will all make it through, right? So I hope that this message finds all of you doing well and finding some great things to read independently, even though we can't read our book club books. If you do have any request of just some other books that you might be interested in, talk to Renee and see if she's willing to pick up some things from us. We certainly do have things. We just can't get copies for everyone of a single title right now. But, you know, we do have a nice collection of large print and books on CDs. So if you're interested, talk to her and I'll see if we can get some books to you. And I hope, fingers crossed, that I will be seeing you all in June, July, or maybe even August. Only time will tell, right? So I hope you're all doing well and enjoying each other's company and enjoying a good book every now and then. And I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.